Congratulations on your purchase of a beautiful new Inspire 330 by Country Coach. On this video, we'll review some of the most important features of your new motor coach. We'll also cover key safety issues, show you some easy steps towards winterizing your motor coach, and recommend a useful pre-driving routine for you to follow. So sit back and let's take a tour of your beautiful new Inspire 330. We'll begin our tour of the 330 here at the door. The door has two locks. The first key unlocks the deadbolt. The second key opens the door. The screen door separates from the main door by pressing this lever here and then closing the door. Just inside the door, you'll find switches for the porch light and the house battery disconnect. The porch switch turns the light on above the door. The step cover switch extends and retracts the step cover. Next, the light switch turns off and on the first set of lights in the coach. The house battery disconnect lights up when the battery is engaged. When the battery is disconnected, the light is off. The entry step switch, when turned on, allows the entry steps to extend and retract as the door is opened and closed. There are 4 docking lights on the Inspire 330. One is here on the front, another is on the driver's side, and there are 2 more on opposite sides at the rear. The switch for these lights is on the driver's console. There are 2 fuel fills, one here by the front door and another on the driver's side.
The Inspire 330 is equipped with 3 connections that allow you to attach an air hose and use the coach's compressed air system. You can use this for removing water from the plumbing when you winterize the coach. We'll show you how when we cover the plumbing bay.
Depending on optional equipment, the first pass-through bay may contain a dual-directional slide-out storage tray. To slide, push down the locking lever and pull on the tray to slide it out. The tray will extend to 2/3 of its length. To retract, push the tray in until you hear a click. Pull firmly on the tray to make sure it's locked into place. At the top of the bay is the location of the motor for the power gear slide room mechanism for the galley room slide. Inside each bay, lights can be turned on. Don't forget to turn them off when you finish in the bay. There are 2 pass-through bays on the 40-foot model Inspire 330. The 36-foot model has 1. Here is the location of your LP tank. This delivers LP gas to the various appliances and equipment that are LP fired. This is the connector for filling the LP tank. Remember, the tanks can only be filled to 80% of capacity. The other 20% allows for gas expansion within the tanks. To check the level of LP in the tank, there's a gauge inside the coach. Located in the coach below the refrigerator is the LP detector. As a safety feature, the LP detector must be on and not in alarm before LP will be released from the tank into the supply lines to the coach. The service center bay is the home of all your motor coach's resettable circuit breakers. Each is labeled for easy reference. The chassis disconnect switch is also found here. This disconnects power to your chassis battery. Behind that is the Echo charger. This provides a trickle charge to the batteries when connected to shore power. This is also the location of the chassis batteries. The Inspire 330 uses liquid lead acid, or LLA, batteries for the chassis circuits, so be sure to check electrolyte levels. To do this, remove these battery vent caps. Each cell should have an electrolyte level about 1/4 inch below the bottom of the vent tube that is visible after the vent caps have been removed. Never let the electrolyte level fall below the level of the top of the plates. Add water to a low cell, being careful not to fill above the bottom of the vent tube. Tap water may be used, provided it's low in minerals and has not been softened. The specific gravity of the electrolyte should also be checked using a hydrometer. Care should always be taken that electrolyte does not come into contact with the body, particularly the eyes. Personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, face shield, electrolyte-resistant gloves, and aprons should be worn. Also, the charger should be turned off and the battery should sit for 30 minutes. A charged battery will have a specific gravity of 1.260 to 1.280 at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The batteries will self-discharge over a period of time and will incur permanent damage if left in the discharge state for more than a few weeks. During storage, your batteries should be recharged every 1 to 2 months to keep them in good condition. Solar panels are an ideal solution for keeping your batteries charged during storage. For more detailed information on the specifics of the Inspire 330's batteries, please refer to your printed owner's guide. In the next bay over is the diagnostic ports used by authorized service centers to interface with your Caterpillar engine. This is the engine bay. To unlock, simply insert and turn the barrel key, then lift the door. The Caterpillar C9, a 6-cylinder turbocharged 8.8-liter diesel engine with 400 horsepower, powers your Inspire 330. It has an onboard electronic control module that regulates engine operation and provides protection in the event of high coolant temperatures or low oil pressure. The engine serial number is located on the passenger side for the cylinder block above the engine control module. This information is used to provide accurate information when ordering replacement parts. You can also find this number on the EPA emissions certification label mounted on the front of the engine gear case and on the sticker inside your coach's bathroom cabinet. The coach is equipped with a dash display monitor which obtains information directly from the electronic control module found on the engine and the transmission control module located in the steering compartment. If there's a problem, the check engine or check transmission light will illuminate. If this should occur, find a safe place to pull over and evaluate the problem. The engine uses a fuel filter water separator as the primary filter and a secondary fuel filter located by the oil fill. If the water and fuel dash indicator comes on, this is where you would drain the water. Be sure the parking brake is applied, the transmission is in neutral, and the engine is off. If the engine has been running, allow it to cool for 30 minutes. Open the valve at the bottom of the fuel filter water separator. Drain into a container until clear fuel appears. Close the valve. Both fuel filters should be replaced every 20,000 miles or 12 months. There is a shut-off valve to the filters. Since belts and pulleys wear with use, you should check them on a regular basis and before any trip. Look for cracking, fabric rupture, cover tears, worn sides, excessively stretched, or lumpy belts. On the left side of the engine bay is the air filter minder. If the yellow portion of the air filter minder is in the red area, then the air filter may need to be replaced. Below the air filter minder is the air filter. Located in front of the radiator core is the charge air cooler, which cools the air from the turbocharger. Since cooler air is denser, a greater volume enters the combustion chamber, providing lower fuel consumption and increased horsepower. The front of the charge air cooler should be checked and cleaned regularly with a soft brush and soapy water. Also inspect the piping, clamps, and hoses in the system. Replace worn parts as needed. The coolant system should be inspected daily. The surge tank cap and coolant filter should be firmly sealed. All air and drain valves should be closed and the radiator should be inspected for leaks. The coolant level should be checked in the sight glass. If you don't see coolant in the glass, you need to add a compatible coolant into the surge tank to bring it up to the level of the sight glass. Be sure to use the same coolant that is currently in the coach. Country Coach uses FleetGuard ES Complete, an extended life coolant that may be good for the life of your coach if properly maintained. Check the engine oil daily using the dipstick located in the engine bay. Wait 5 minutes after you turn off the engine before you check the level. The level should be between the add and full marks. You can add oil through the engine fill tube. The oil and oil filter should be changed every 10,000 miles, 6 months, or 250 hours of engine use, whichever comes first. On top of the engine is the transmission fluid fill location and dipstick. Turn on this switch to activate the adjustable engine bay light. Before leaving on a trip, be sure to check all engine fluid levels, inspect the engine belts for wear, and look for any evidence of fluids on the engine. If you see belt wear or fluids on the engine, schedule an appointment at your nearest authorized service center. For complete information, refer to your engine owner's guide.
The compressed air system consists of a compressor, governor, and dryer. The governor controls the air pressure in the system, and the dryer removes the moisture from the air. You should check the effectiveness of the dryer on a daily basis. Open the valves located at the front of the coach and look for presence of water. If excess moisture is present, the cartridge may need to be replaced. The cartridge must be replaced every 50,000 miles or 2 years, whichever occurs first. Serious damage to the air system will occur if this is not replaced. Bring your coach into a service center to have a qualified technician inspect and, if needed, replace the cartridge. The air tanks should be drained daily. The hydraulic system operates the power steering and the radiator fan. There's a reservoir located on the rear right side of the engine bay. You should check the fluid level daily. Wipe down the area around the cap, then unscrew it and pull out the dipstick. If the fluid level is at the add mark, you will need to add 1 quart of hydraulic fluid. Check the hydraulic fluid when the engine is warm. Regularly check all hoses and fittings for leakage and change the fluid and filter every 25,000 miles or 2 years, whichever comes first. This is the plumbing bay, which is where you'll find many of the hookups you'll need when stopped at a campground. Let's begin with the freshwater inlet. Here is your freshwater inlet. This is both your city water and your fill to the freshwater tanks. Simply screw your freshwater hose to this inlet. To fill the water tanks, move this lever to the tank fill position. To use city water, ensure the lever is in the city water service position. When you're not connected to city water, the water pump must be engaged to access the freshwater reservoir. Access the freshwater tank by moving this lever to tanks to pump. This is the inlet to pump. You can use it to pump antifreeze into the plumbing system when winterizing your coach. Just attach the hose, move the lever to inlet to pump, and turn on the pump. This lever is the water heater bypass. In the horizontal position, water bypasses the heater. In the down position, water will flow into the water heater. You would use this when winterizing your coach. By engaging this lever, you avoid running antifreeze or compressed air through the hot water tank. Just to the left of the freshwater fill is the connector for the black tank flush. Attach a hose here to flush the black water tank after draining. This is an outside shower for rinsing the sewer hose. Below that are the knife valves for the gray and black water tanks. At the bottom of the bay is the attachment for the sewer hose. This red handle is for draining the fresh water tank. At the bottom right of the plumbing bay is the water pump. To fill your water tank, first turn off the water pump and the water supply valve. Wash the area around the connection. Connect the city water hose to the 3/4 inch swivel hose connection. Ensure that the tank fill selector valve is in the up position and the pump lever is in the tank to pump position. Turn on the water supply valve and monitor the water level using the gauge located inside the coach. If overfilled, water will spill from the tank vents. To stop, shut off the supply valve, return the center tank fill selector valve to the down position, and disconnect the hose. Then, inside the coach, open all the faucets with the pump switched off. Next, turn the pump switch on and allow water to flow until all lines are free of excess air. Then close all the faucets and valves. The pump will automatically turn itself off once the water pressure has reached the desired level. For more information about the water pump, consult your owner's guide. Though your country coach is well prepared for long stretches of unsupported or dry camping, we recommend that tank levels be kept as low as is practical for your level of use. Plan ahead for your next week's travel plans. A 1/4 tank of fresh water may be just fine for your needs until you reach your next destination. Draining your black and gray tanks and lowering the amount of water in your fresh tank decreases the weight of the coach. To drain the fresh water systems, level the coach and turn off the water pump and water heater. Next, open all fixture valves inside the coach and the outside shower. Open the water tank drain valve and the drain plug in the water heater. Operate the water pump for 5 seconds to remove water from between the tank and the pump. Check all interior plumbing fixtures, including the toilet flush valve, for trapped water. To be thorough, attaching a blowout plug adapter to the fill connection and blowing compressed air throughout the water lines is a sure way to remove any remaining water. Air pressure should not exceed 45 pounds per square inch.
For assistance on draining your freshwater system, don't hesitate to contact your nearest authorized Country Coach Service Center. For freeze protection, there is a thermostat that controls heat to the plumbing bay. This works with the coach's rear furnace, or Zone 2, to blow warm air into the bay. The rear heating system must be left on if freeze protection is desired. The Inspire 330 is equipped with an activated carbon particle filter which filters the incoming cold water. It filters all water from the freshwater tank and the city water connection. A decrease in flow rate and water quality is a good indication that the filter needs to be replaced. Access this filter either through the panel in the bay forward of the plumbing bay on the passenger side or below the main vanity. Turn off the water pump and depressurize the system by opening the low point drain valves, then remove the two halves of the filter unit and remove the filter core. Replace the filter and screw the two halves back together. The fresh water tank should be sanitized before your first use of your new motor coach, as well as after long periods of non-use or after any suspected contamination. To sanitize the system, prepare a sodium hypochloride solution using fresh water and household bleach in the ratio of 1/4 cup of bleach to 1 gallon of water. Pour approximately 1 gallon of hypochlorite solution for each 15 gallons of capacity into an empty freshwater system. For example, for the Inspire 330's 99-gallon tank, you would add 6.5 gallons of the sodium hypochlorite solution. The solution is added through the pump inlet. Then fill the rest of the tank with fresh water and remove trapped air by venting the system. Let this sit for 3 hours, then drain the tanks and refill with fresh water. Excessive hypochlorite taste or odor is removed by rinsing the system with a vinegar solution of 1 quart vinegar to 5 gallons of water. Fill the rest of the tank with fresh water and let sit. Then drain the system and refill with fresh water. The Inspire 330's waste drainage system consists of 2 tanks, a black tank for toilet waste and a gray tank for the wastewater from the sinks, shower, and optional clothes washer. You'll find the tank drains here inside the plumbing bay. If both the black and gray tanks need to be drained, it's wise to begin with the black tank, as the following gray tank will help rinse out any remaining solids. When camping, the knife valves for the tank drains should remain closed. Leaving the black drain valve open could allow a buildup of solids in the tank. Remove the sewer hose from the cargo holding area and connect the fitting end to the terminal of the knife valve assembly. Insert the other end into the dumping station opening. Make sure this end is secure and that the length of hose is not stretched overly tight or bowed to create any low spots along its path. When you're ready, open the black tank knife valve and allow sufficient time for the tank to drain. Then leave the valve for the black water tank open and open the gray tank valve. Once draining is complete, Country Coach recommends that you rinse the black tank after draining. For rinsing, use a different hose than the one used for filling the fresh water tank. Ensure that both knife valves are closed. Remove the hose from the fitting and use the shower in the bay to rinse the hose. Disconnect the hose from the dumping station and return it to its storage area. After each draining, it's recommended that you recharge your black water tank using a chemical deodorant, such as Aquachem. Add this by depressing the toilet pedal and pouring in 1 8-ounce bottle of Aquachem and adding a gallon of water to the tank. It's very important to remember to dump your black and gray tanks before you place your coach in storage, even for a week. To winterize the plumbing system, first the freshwater, black water, and gray water tanks should be drained, flushed, and left empty. During the black water tank rinse phase of the dump procedure, shut off the water supply to the toilet and flush the remaining water in the bowl. Apply a thin coat of silicone-based valve seal lubricant such as Dow Corning 3 Valve Lube and Seal to the soft rubber portions of the toilet drain valve assembly. RV-type non-toxic plumbing antifreeze should be poured down each drain to prevent the standing water in the P-traps from freezing. Do not use engine coolant or engine antifreeze for this procedure. To winterize the fresh water system, disconnect the electrical power supply to the water heater. Then turn off the water pump and drain the fresh water by opening the drain valve on the bottom of the tank. Turn this red handle to open the drain valve. Also, open all the faucets and the feed line to the toilet. This will help the water flow out of the tanks. Next, run the water pump for about 5 seconds to force any remaining water out of the pump system. Then remove and drain the water filter. To remove the remaining water from the lines, attach the blowout adapter plug to the city water connection and purge the system by using pressurized air. Air pressure should not exceed 45 pounds per square inch. Allow the ice maker to continue to make ice until no water is available. This should then remove all water from your freshwater system and you can safely store your coach. These detailed instructions on winterizing are also covered in your owner's guide. The water heater is located inside the coach behind the panel in the pantry lower cabinet. The temperature and drain controls are located inside the panel on the driver's side of the coach. At the top is the pressure release valve. The switch for turning off and on the heater is on the galley equipment panel. There is a switch to select either LP or electricity to run the heater. The breakers for the heater are in the service panel. This bay contains the manual cord reel for the 50 amp power cord. Simply turn the crank to either extend or retract the power cord. A 30 amp power adapter is also included. Right up here is the surge protector for the coach. This will protect the electrical system from power spikes from external sources and over and under voltage conditions. Should voltage drop below 102 volts or raise above 132 volts for more than 8 seconds, power to the coach is turned off. The key allows you to bypass over and under voltage protection while still maintaining full surge protection. However, Country Coach recommends that you do not operate in the bypass mode. Line 1 and 2 LED will light when there is input power. If there is an over or under voltage condition that lasts for more than 8 seconds, this LED will illuminate and power will be shut off to the coach. Once correct voltage is restored, this LED will flash for 2 minutes and 16 seconds before power is restored to the motor coach. The caution LED comes on if there is a problem with the polarity of the shore power and the surge guard will not let the power pass into the coach. There are also connections for the phone and cable television. On the driver's side is the bay that contains the house batteries, the inverter, and the hydraulic reservoir for the leveling jacks. The 330 has 4 6-volt batteries for the house. The Inspire 330 uses liquid lead acid or LLA batteries, so be sure to check fluid levels. To do this, remove these battery vent caps. Each cell should have an electrolyte level about 1/4 inch below the bottom of the vent tube that is visible after the vent caps have been removed. Never let the electrolyte level fall below the level of the top of the plates. Add water to a low cell, being careful not to fill above the bottom of the vent tube. Tap water may be used, provided it's low in minerals or has not been softened. The specific gravity of the electrolyte should also be checked using a hydrometer. Care should always be taken that electrolyte does not come into contact with the body, particularly the eyes. Personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, face shield, electrolyte-resistant gloves, and aprons should be worn. Also, the charger should be turned off and the battery should sit for 30 minutes. A charged battery will have a specific gravity of 1.260 to 1.280 at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The batteries will self-discharge over a period of time and will incur permanent damage if left in the discharge state for more than a few weeks. During storage, the batteries should be recharged every 1 to 2 months to keep them in good condition. Solar panels are an ideal solution for keeping the batteries charged during storage. For more information on the specifics of the Inspire 330's batteries, please refer to your printed owner's guide. This is the 2000 watt solid state inverter. This is the reservoir for the hydraulic system and the fill point is right here. The jacks for the Inspire 330's leveling system are a Power Gear hydraulic jack system. Each one of the jacks has 14 to 15 inches of travel. On the side of the bay are a series of resettable circuit breakers. Each one is labeled. This fuse on the side of the bay is for the inverter. Located below the driver is the bay that contains the fuses for the chassis electrical system. All the fuses are labeled and color-coded. For a detailed schematic of the fuses, refer to your owner's guide. Right here is the tank for the windshield washing fluid. This is also the location of the ABS blink code switch.
If the ABS indicator light on the dash comes on, this light will start blinking. It's important that you do not touch the switch. Pressing on this switch will reset the blink code and the service technician will not be able to interpret the error. The generator, mounted between the front suspension systems, is accessed from the front of your motor coach. The 7.5 kilowatt Awning quiet diesel generator in your motor coach rarely needs to be accessed as it's operated via remote start-stop switching. When accessing the generator directly, there's a start-stop switch located right here. To start the generator, depress the switch to the start position and hold in this position until the engine is running, and then release. Normally the engine will start within 5 seconds. However, if the engine fails to start after 10 seconds, release the switch and wait a few seconds before activating the switch again. Whenever possible, allow for a brief cooling period by running the generator at no power load for a few minutes before turning it off. To turn off, depress the switch to the stop position and hold until the generator stops. If the generator starts but fails to deliver a 120 volt output, check and reset the circuit breaker located on the generator's control box. There are 2 fills for the coolant and the oil. These are both for filling and checking your levels. For complete instructions, including a maintenance schedule, refer to your owner's guide. Depending on your model, the access panel for the refrigerator will be either on the passenger side or the driver's side. Just use a small coin or screwdriver to open the panel. Here is the shutoff for the LP to the refrigerator. This is the water line for the ice maker. When winterizing the coach, disconnect the line and blow air through it to remove any remaining water. There is also an electrical outlet for powering the refrigerator. Proper tire maintenance is the key to any safe traveling experience. Check your tire's pressure every day while traveling or before any major trip. Check the pressure when the tires are cool, meaning the coach has only been driven a few miles since pressure increases as the tire is heated. Purchase a quality truck-style air pressure gauge with a built-in offset. Refer to your owner's guide for recommended tire pressure. Your tires should be inspected thoroughly at least once a year. This inspection should include the inside and outside sidewalls, tread area, valves, caps, and any valve extensions. Contact a tire dealer if there's anything found to be in question or if you need assistance with the inspection. There's an optional remote that controls the patio awning. There's also a switch on the bottom of the right pole. If you don't have the remote, the control for the awnings is inside the coach in the overhead above the entry door. There are 2 switches for extending and retracting the awnings, one for the door and the other for the patio. The mode switch turns power to the patio awning and the wind speed sensor off and on. When off, there is no power to the awning. When on, there's power to the awning, but the wind speed sensor is off. Wind Smart On means there is power to the awning and the wind sensor is on. The wind speed switch lets you select the wind speed that will cause the patio awning to retract. It's recommended that you retract your awnings before retiring for the night. Once a month, loosen dirt and dust from the awning with a dry medium bristle brush. Then rinse the awning with a hose. You should wash your awning seasonally with a recommended cleanser. Never use strong detergent or stain removers as this can destroy the water repellents of the fabric. The gel coat exterior finish of your 330 is laminated to the fiberglass and serves as a weather-resistant outer shell. It's easily maintained in the same manner as automotive paint, so periodic washing and waxing is the only general maintenance required. Inspect the seals on your coach every 6 months. Take a close look wherever there are openings or seams in your walls. This includes around doors, windows, vents, and slide rooms. Check for signs of a bad seal such as missing strips of sealer, wear spots, and peeling sealer. If you see any evidence of damaged or worn seals, you should take your coach to a qualified service center.
For detailed information on exterior care, please refer to your owner's guide. That covers some of the highlights of the many functional items found on the exterior of your motor coach. Once again, it's always important to refer to your owner's guide for more detailed information. Let's review the many switches and gauges within arm's reach of the driver. To the left of the driver, find the height indication for the Inspire. This shows that the driving height is 12 feet 9 inches from the ground to the top of the roof air conditioners. Just below that is the adjustment for the left and right mirrors. Now let's go through the switches. First is the switch for the driver and passenger overhead dash fans. The next switch controls the exhaust brake for the Caterpillar diesel. This operates a valve on the exhaust manifold that closes, which increases pressure in the cylinder to slow the engine. The exhaust brake will assist in slowing the coach, but is not a substitute for the service brake when a complete stop is required. The battery boost switch assists in starting the engine or generator when needed. This switch combines the power in the domestic batteries with the chassis batteries to help start the engine or generator in the event of low batteries. For best results, hold the boost switch for about 5 seconds before cranking the engine. This allows the batteries to equalize before the rush of current required for starting the engine. The next row of switches starts with the control to dump the air from the suspension air springs, lowering the motor coach and making it easier to level. Engage your docking lights with this switch. The next switch is for adjusting your foot pedals. This will move the pedals either closer to or farther from the driver for enhanced driving comfort. The third row of switches includes the control for the driver and passenger's side sun visor. Near your elbow, find the transmission shifter. This is how you operate the Allison 3000 MH automatic transmission. Moving from the top of the panel toward the bottom, the first push button control is R, which stands for reverse. Always bring the motor coach to a full stop before selecting reverse. N is neutral. Neutral must be selected in order to start the engine. This button also has raised edges so the driver can find it without taking his or her attention away from the road. D is drive for normal driving conditions. When in this range, the transmission starts in first gear and automatically upshifts as necessary. Downshifting also occurs automatically. Certain driving conditions may require you to manually set the transmission at a lower gear. This can be accomplished by pressing the down arrow to pre-select a lower gear. Use the up arrow to return to your desired range. The transmission will not complete the downshift to your pre-selected gear until it's safe to do so without damaging the engine or transmission. Each time the engine is started, the check transmission light illuminates, then turns off. This is to show that the status lights are working properly. If the check transmission light does not illuminate or the light remains on, check the system immediately. You will also see a flashing display from the shift selector and a diagnostic code will be logged. To access the code, bring the motor coach to a stop and apply the parking brake. Press the up and down arrow and the code will display one digit at a time. Pressing the mode button will display the next code. Your operator's manual contains the complete code listing. The parking brake is a two-way valve. Pulling out the knob vents compressed air from the brake chambers and allows a spring-loaded mechanism to apply the brakes. Pushing in the control knob closes the vent and directs air pressure to release the brakes. The parking brake should always be applied when the coach is parked. Here are the controls for leveling the coach. We will cover these controls later on. Below the jack controls is a light switch. Turn the switch to the right to engage your headlights. Pull on the switch to activate the fog lamps. The turn signal switch activates the high beams. Just pull the switch towards you to activate them. To the right-hand side of the light switch, find the dimmer switch for the dash lights. Let's go over the gauge array on the Inspire 330's dash. The fuel gauge measures the 110-gallon diesel fuel tank, which provides fuel for the engine and diesel-powered generator. The water temperature gauge indicates the engine temperature. Transmission temperature shows the transmission fluid temperature. The tachometer indicates engine speed. Next, the speedometer that includes an odometer and trip indicator. The voltmeter indicates the battery voltage level. Normal reading should be approximately 12 volts DC. A significant or prolonged drop from this level indicates a possible drain on the battery or the engine alternator's inability to recharge. Below that is the gauge for the engine oil pressure. This gauge's normal reading is between 35 and 75 pounds per square inch. The air pressure gauge is a dual pointer indicating pressure in the compressed air system's primary and secondary holding tanks. Above the tachometer and speedometer are the panel indicator lights. This is where you'll find the turn signal indicators and the high beam indicator. The ATC light will come on if the automatic traction control senses a loss of traction and the system is activated. The ABS indicator comes on if the anti-lock braking system malfunctions. If this light comes on, you may continue driving, but have the system checked as soon as possible as you may be without anti-lock capabilities. The engine warning will illuminate if the sensor monitors the failure of critical engine operations, such as oil pressure, coolant, or the failure of other engine sensors. If necessary, this sensor could cause the engine torque to decrease. If the problem persists, it could cause the complete power down of the engine. In any case, if this light comes on, bring your coach into your nearest service center as soon as possible. If the water temperature exceeds the prescribed operating range, the water temperature indicator will come on. Stop the vehicle as soon as possible to prevent serious damage to the engine. Also, check the water temperature gauge to confirm the temperature spike. The stop engine indicator light is engaged when there is a problem that may require a reduction in engine power or a complete shutdown. A drop in oil pressure below safe operating levels will cause the low oil pressure indicator to come on. First, confirm with the oil pressure gauge. If it's also showing low oil pressure, stop the coach as soon as possible. If either the rear or front brake air pressure drops below 65 psi, then the low front or rear brakes indicator will light. Whenever the parking brake is applied, the parking brake indicator will come on. It's not possible to drive the coach with the parking brake light on. Using the exhaust brake will light the exhaust brake indicator. If there's a problem with the transmission and it needs servicing, then the check transmission indicator will come on. The water and fuel indicator means that water has reached the sensor located near the bottom of the fuel filter. To remove the water, there's an opening at the base of the filter. Open this and let the water drain out. When the entry steps near the front of the coach are extended, this indicator will light. For more information on your panel indicator lights, please refer to your owner's manual. The smart wheel contains the horn and switches for the headlights, cruise control, marker lights, and the windshield wiper and washer, all within easy reach of the driver at any time. To control the position of the smart wheel, adjust the handle here on the side. To tilt the wheel, you pull back on it. Pushing down raises and lowers the smart wheel. Here is your headlight flash button. If your lights are on, holding down this button will turn them off. If your lights are off, it'll turn them on. The cruise control adjustments are just below the headlight flash. The on-off button activates and deactivates the cruise control system. Once the cruise control is activated, the exhaust brake will not work. The set button sets the cruise control speed. Set will also add 1 mile per hour to the set speed with each subsequent press of the button. The cancel button cancels the set speed. However, it does not turn off the cruise control. The previously set speed remains in memory. Press the res button and the coach will return to the saved speed. Of course, pressing the brake pedal at any time cancels the set cruise control. The marker lamp's flash button will flash the marker lamps. Drivers who signal other drivers often use this. Below those buttons are the wiper controls. It's important to remember that turning on the wipers also will turn on the headlights, and they'll remain on until either the ignition is turned off or the headlight controls are turned on and then off. The wiper low-high will turn on the wiper starting with the low speed, and pressing again will toggle to the high speed. The wiper off button will switch off the wiper. Pressing and holding the wiper wash button will switch on the washer fluid pump and the wipers. As long as the switch is pressed, the washer will continue to operate. The wiper delay, an intermittent speed function, is programmable from 1 to 30 seconds. To set, press the wiper delay button once and the wipers will run through one cycle. Wait from 1 to 30 seconds and press the button again. The wipers will run through a cycle again and the timer is now set. Emergency flashes are located on the lower left side of the steering column. You can also use the smart wheel to adjust your idle speed. Start the coach and press the on-off button on the smart wheel, then push the set button to increase the idle speed. There are two settings for the backup camera, auto and manual. When in auto, the backup camera will come on whenever the transmission is set in reverse. In manual setting, you have to turn the monitor on. This is useful when you're driving in traffic and want to use your backup monitor. There is a day and night setting for brightness.
There are also separate controls for brightness and contrast. The volume control is for the microphone located on the camera. Use this to hear verbal instructions from your designated spotter as you back into a parking spot. You're parked in your spot. Now it's time to level your Inspire 330. Walk around the exterior of your motor coach before leveling and assess the terrain. Be sure that the ground is not too soft or unstable to provide a firm surface for the jacks. First, the key must be in the ignition and turned to the on position. Do not start your engine. In most cases, you can level the coach by pressing the auto button on the control panel. The coach will then self-level and will indicate the process is complete when the green light in the center of the panel is illuminated. To operate the levelers manually, press the man button for about 5 seconds until it illuminates and use the appropriate leg pads to override the auto settings and adjust the coach to your liking. Level the vehicle front to rear first, then side to side. Now let's go over all the controls on the panel. The on-off push button illuminates the panel and activates the system. Front, rear, left, and right push buttons lower the individual jacks. To lower each jack, push the button until contact with the ground is felt. The jack's down light illuminates when any jack is not fully retracted. The Retract All Jacks button automatically retracts jacks. To retract the jacks, make sure that the LED indicator light and hydraulic pump for the jacks has shut off. If the jack's down indicator glows and there's an audible warning beep, the jacks are not retracted. Do not move the vehicle. Once the jack's down light is off, press the on-off button to turn off the system. Once the jacks are retracted, Country Coach recommends that you allow the coach to return to travel height before leaving. The driver's seat offers a 6-way power adjustment, allowing you to move the seat back, forward, and up and down with the touch of a button. This feature is also available in the optional luxury package for the passenger seat. Both seats also swivel around, making them a welcome part of the living area of your motor coach. The passenger seat also features an optional power footrest. The seats are upholstered with ultra leather, a durable material that resists scratches, nicks, cracking, and peeling. Most stains can be cleaned with just soap and water. For tough stains, use an ordinary household cleaner and wipe with a damp cloth. These seats can even be disinfected with a 5-to-1 solution of non-chlorinated bleach and water. The entertainment system in the Inspire 330 comes in 3 option levels. The first is the standard, which includes a 27-inch Panasonic flat-screen TV and VCR. Going through the system, let's start with just watching either cable or the TV antenna. First, turn on your switch box. This will give a boost to the signal. If you want to watch TV on the front TV, select TV antenna under Main TV on the switch box. Then just turn on your TV. If you have a cable hookup, then on the main switch box, select Cable TV. You may have to program the TV to receive the cable channels. To do that requires the TV remote. Hit Menu to bring up the menu. Then select Program Channels and hit the center button. Make sure that cable is selected. Then select Auto Program and then hit center button to begin auto-programming the cable channels. This will take a couple of minutes while the TV finds all the available cable channels. In order to play the VCR, first power the unit and select VCR on the switch box. The TV needs to be on channel 3. The luxury package includes the Panasonic surround system with 6 speakers and the DVD receiver. There are 3 speakers up front, 2 above the driver and passenger seat, and 1 front center speaker. The 2 rear speakers are mounted under the galley cabinets and the hutch. The subwoofer is located under the sofa. To play the TV through the home theater system, you need to use the VCR as the tuner. First, turn on the receiver, VCR, and TV on channel 3. There is a button called VCR on the receiver remote. Hit that button and the word VCR is displayed on the receiver. You can also do the same thing by using the Select button on the receiver. Select either TV antenna or cable on the switch box for the VCR. On the VCR remote, push the VCR TV button and use the channel selector to change the channels. Then adjust the volume on the receiver. To play DVDs, set the switch box to auxiliary and press the eject button on the front of the receiver. Push the DVD button on the receiver and then, using the TV remote, switch the TV to the video input. On the TV remote, there is a TV video button that will toggle the TV so that the DVD will play. Then you can either hit play on the remote or on the receiver to play the DVD. The audio when playing DVDs is only controlled by the receiver. You don't adjust the volume on the TV. The remote for the DVD has a button called Surround that will turn the surround sound on and off. For the digital projection theater package, there is a 68-inch projection screen, blackout shades in the living area, and projector. To lower the screen, push and hold the projector screen button until the screen comes down. Point the remote at the projector and hold the button down until the projector turns on. To play DVDs, push the input on the projector remote until you see S-Video displayed on the screen. If you want to play videotapes, push the input button until it says Video on the screen. If you want to watch television, you need to use the VCR as the tuner. Just set the projector to video and change the channels using the VCR remote. The audio for the projector plays through the receiver. In the galley, let's begin with the cooktop cover. To begin with, first remove the cooktop cover. Once the LP is on, you just turn the knob to the light position and wait. The burner will ignite. For the convection oven, to set the clock, press the option button and turn the dial to clock. Press the dial. Turn the selector dial to set the hour and press it. Turn the dial to set the minute and press. Then turn the dial to select AM or PM and press the dial one last time. The clock is now set. To begin speed cooking, first press the Speed Cook button and turn the dial until the display shows Food Menu. Then press it. Turn the dial to select the type of food and press. Turn the dial again to select the specific food and press. Turn the dial to select the amount and press. Once Start is displayed, place the food in the oven and press the dial or Start to begin cooking. To use the microwave, just press the Micro Express button. The oven will start immediately. You may add or subtract time by turning the dial. For baking, press the Oven Bake button, then turn the dial to set the oven temperature and press the dial to start. The oven will then go into a preheat mode. When the oven is done preheating, it will signal you to place the food in the oven. There is a fan on the oven and pushing the button toggles it through the different speeds. The light works the same way. Push the button to turn it on and then toggle through its settings. For complete information on how your GE Advantium micro-convection oven works, please refer to your owner's guide. In the ceiling of the living area is the fantastic fan. The control for the fan is here on the wall near the galley. There is also a control on the fan itself to adjust the speed and to turn it on and off. The fan has a rain sensor, so it will automatically close if it starts to rain. For the countertop, soapy water or ammonia-based cleaners will remove most dirt and stains. Watermarks can be removed if wiped with a damp cloth and then left to dry. You should avoid exposing the countertop to strong chemicals such as oven cleaner. If you do spill chemicals on the countertop, quickly flush the surface with water. Do not cut directly on the surface, but use a cutting board. Minor damage such as scratches, burns, or chemical stains can be repaired with a light abrasive cleanser and a Scotch-Brite pad. Severe scratches or damage may require consulting a professional for repairs. The Norcold refrigerator runs on AC or LP. To operate, first turn it on. Then push and hold the mode button to select either AC, LP, or auto. In automatic mode, the refrigerator will automatically use the most efficient energy source available. The first choice is always AC, the second LP. Always make sure that the door is securely closed for travel. Close the door until you hear a click. When storing the Inspire 330, there's a storage latch that keeps the door from completely closing, which will keep the refrigerator fresh. To operate the latch, open the door about ½ an inch and push the storage latch into the slot. When starting the coach for the first time, after storage or after adding LP, the gas supply lines may have air in them. To remove air from the lines, open the LP to the coach, then turn on the refrigerator. Select LP for the mode. If air in the lines prevents the burner from igniting, the fault codes NO and FL will be displayed. Push and hold the on-off button for 2 seconds and then release to silence the alarm. The refrigerator will start a 30-second trial for ignition. When no fault code shows, that means the refrigerator is operating on LP. Depending on how much air is in the system, you may need to repeat the trial ignition 2 or 3 times. If after the 3rd attempt the burner still does not ignite, stop and contact an authorized service center. If you see the display no AC, then there is no AC going to the refrigerator. Check the circuit breaker in the coach. It may be tripped. For a complete list of fault codes and service information, consult your owner's guide.
Your Inspire 330's electrical system includes your generator, 50 amp shore service, the house batteries, and a 2000 watt inverter. When you're connected to shore power, the inverter converts the incoming AC to DC to charge the batteries. When running on batteries, it converts the DC to AC to power the convenience outlets and the entertainment system. It will not power the refrigerator or the roof air. The inverter control panels can be found here by the galley. This indicator shows you the charge state of your batteries. If the first LED is on, then the voltage is low and charging the batteries is recommended. If the second LED is on, the battery is in normal range, and if the third is on, the battery voltage is at its highest level. The inverter button turns the inverter off and on. The power share button adjusts the amount of incoming amps that can be allocated to charge the batteries. When connected to limited amp shore power, turning down the amps allocated to charge the batteries leaves more power for the interior functions of your coach. When the charge LED is on, the battery charger is charging the batteries. Charging automatically begins when external power is detected. The DC volts and DC amps indicators show the level of volts and amps in the house batteries. The load meter will help you monitor amp usage, especially when connected to a lower amperage connection, such as a 30 amp source. As you see here, this indicator has detected a 30 amp line incoming and reads the current amp load being used by the coach. This information is very useful. If you see that you're using 25 amps, simply adjust the power share on the inverter to decrease the amps allocated to the batteries. Also, if the coach is drawing close to the maximum available amperage due to running several of the appliances at once, the individual power indicators for the appliances will start to turn off. This means the coach is turning off these items to help balance the load. Your tank indicator shows the levels for all tanks. Simply select the tank level you want and the LED will light to show the current level. Below the tank indicator is the internal remote start-stop switch for the generator. Just push and hold the switch. The generator will go through its preheat and start. Release the switch once the generator starts. To stop the generator, push and hold the switch in the down position until the generator ceases operation. Just below the tank indicators are the switches for the water heater. This allows you to select either AC or LP to power the heater. At the center of the coach against the wall are the slide room controls. Before extending any of the slide rooms, be sure that the coach is level by engaging the leveling jacks as described earlier. Do not attempt to extend any of the slides until the coach has been leveled, as this will place the slide hardware under undue stress. Once the coach is leveled, walk around the exterior of the coach and make sure there is plenty of room for the slide rooms to extend. Country Coach also recommends placing a spotter outside to supervise as the slide rooms extend. For the slide rooms to operate, the key must be in the ignition in the on position. Make sure that the area in the interior of the coach is clear. Then push and hold the extend button until the slide room fully extends. To retract the rooms, first check the roof of the slide room and remove any debris from the roof and topper awning. Clear the area inside the coach and push and hold the retract button until the room fully retracts. In the unlikely event that it becomes necessary to manually retract the slide rooms, access the Power Gear slide room motor in the storage bay and release the brake lever on the end of the motor. Disconnect the red and black power lead wires extending from the motor. Using a wrench, turn the shaft to retract the room. Once the room is fully retracted, return to the motor and reapply the brake to keep the room closed for travel. For the living room slide, the motor and shaft are on the driver's side in Bay 3 for the motor and Bay 4 for the shaft. For the bedroom slide, the manual controls are located under the bed. Using a 3/4 inch socket, turn the shaft to retract the room. For more detailed operating instructions, refer to your Power Gear slide room manual. Here, find the climate controls for your Inspire 330. The system is divided into two zones. Zone 1 controls the furnace and roof air conditioner in the galley area, providing heating and cooling to the entire front half of your motor coach. Zone 2 controls the furnace and roof air conditioner in the bath and bedroom area, providing heating and cooling to the bath, bedroom, and heating the plumbing bay. To operate the climate controls, switch the unit on with the on-off switch found on the bottom of the unit. Then select the zone you want to adjust. The selected zone will begin to flash. Press the mode button to select the function desired: cool, furnace, fan only, or heat pump. Depress the fan button to select the fan speed or to put it into automatic operation.
Set the desired temperature by pressing the up or down arrow buttons. The LP detector for the coach is located here below the refrigerator, and it must be turned on in order to use the LP. This will detect LP leaking into the coach. If the alarm goes off, turn off the LP to the coach and air out the coach. Push the reset button. If the alarm continues to sound, have a qualified LP dealer or RV service center check for leaks. To move the adjustable shower head, simply depress the button on the side and slide the shower head up and down. Inside the water closet are the controls for the water pump and another fantastic fan. Never put anything down your toilet that is not designed for recreational vehicle use. Anything other than toilet paper could damage the tank or clog the system.
Before taking your coach out on the road, it's a good idea to take some time and perform a visual inspection of some important items. Beginning on the outside, make sure the headlight low and high beams are working, along with the turn signals, brake lights, and all other exterior lights on the coach. Inspect the wheel lug nuts to make sure they are all securely fastened. Check the tire pressure and visually inspect each tire, looking for bulges or cuts to the tire. Turn off the gas valve on the LP tank. This will disable all of the gas-powered appliances. Check the storage bays to be sure that all items are adequately stowed, and verify that all of the bay doors are closed and secured. In the engine compartment, check the engine oil, coolant, and transmission fluid levels, adding the appropriate fluids as necessary. While in this area, take a quick look around for any evidence of fluid leaks from hoses or fittings. Any such discovery might make it necessary to consult a qualified technician before venturing out on the open road. Inside the coach, close all roof vents, secure the cabinet doors and drawers, and clear loose items from the table and countertops, stowing them as needed. Turn off the power switch to the awnings. Verify that the leveling system is in the travel mode and that the coach is at proper ride height. Make sure that you travel with a basic safety kit containing flares, triangle, spare fuses, and spare lamps. From each of the 1,300 plus members of the Country Coach Incorporated family, thank you for joining us on this brief tour of the many functional highlights of your beautiful new Inspire 330. Though a complex machine with many independent working parts, the Inspire was designed with one main purpose in mind: to give you the freedom to relax and enjoy your travels in North America or wherever the road takes you. For more information on your Inspire 330, please reference your printed owner's guide, and as always, never hesitate to call Country Coach directly for support. Our support number is 800-452-8015. For the first year, your Inspire 330 comes with 24-hour emergency roadside assistance, toll-free at 877-797-7160. Here's wishing you safe travels. Congratulations on your purchase of the world's finest motor coach. We'll see you down the road.